The News 4 Rundown starts now.
Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jim Hadley. It's Tuesday, June 16th, and here's a look at some of the stories we're following for you tonight. Another case of deadly domestic violence. This time in Northwest D.C., a man was shot and killed by police after police say he shot and killed a woman. News 4's Darcy Spencer is hearing from witnesses and investigators about this tragedy and how the violence came to an end on a Metro bus. Plus, we're following breaking news out of DCA. Travelers are being told to prepare for upcoming flight disruptions because of America 250 events. Our Joseph Almo is standing by live at Reagan National with the breaking details. And a 19-year-old arrested tonight accused of being part of a plot to launch an attack at the White House. What the News 4 I-team is learning about the alleged attack targeting Sunday's UFC fights. But first, it is a consequential night in the district. Primary day is almost over. Polls close in less than 30 minutes. But it may take days before the winners are known because of the large number of mail-in ballots and the debut of ranked choice voting. The election tonight could dramatically reshape D.C. government. On the ballot in the race for mayor, the county council chair, two at-large seats, as well as 4 other council seats. D.C.'s delegate to Congress is also up for grabs, and we're also watching the race for D.C. Attorney General. So let's bring in News 4's Mark Seagraves. Mark, this is a big night for D.C. Tell us what's at stake.
Jim, this is absolutely the most consequential election night in the history of home rule for D.C. As you pointed out, there's going to be a lot of turnover in the D.C. government in the next year, both through this election and then the possibility of some special elections going forward. I want you to look over my shoulder. We're in Ward 1 here at Marie Reed Elementary School, a polling place here in Adams Morgan. And look at the line now that comes. This is just the line to get into the building. Once you get into the building in those doors, you then wrap around the hallways before you get down to the room where the voting is actually taking place. We've been seeing a steady stream of people coming in, but we have not seen lines like this until now. People getting off work, getting here late. As you said, the polls stay open to 8 o'clock, but if you are in line before 8 o'clock, they will keep the polls open until everyone in line gets a chance to vote. So you still have time to come down, get in line, and cast your ballot. Even before the polls open today, more than 68,000 people had already cast their votes either by mail-in ballots, drop-off ballots, or early voting. And yes, a lot on the line. A new mayor, a new delegate in the House of Representatives for D.C., and at least 3 new council members, including right here in Ward 1, where there are 5 people vying to take the seat that Brianne Nadeau is vacating by not running for re-election. And depending on who wins after tonight, if any of the incumbents who are running for higher office win, that would necessitate special elections to fill those seats. That would happen sometime early next year. On top of that, Ward 8 Councilmember Trayon White goes on trial in September on that bribery charge that he has pled not guilty to. If he were to be found guilty and lose his seat, that would be yet another special election. So this time next year, you could have a new mayor, a new delegate, and as many as 6 new members of the 13-member D.C. Council. So a whole lot at stake. And remember, we probably will not know the results by the time you go to bed tonight. Jim, back to you.
Yeah, with those long lines, any indication, and these ballots are long and complicated for some too. Tell us which ballots they're going to be counting first. Where will the first results be coming in, Mark?
So they will release the results of all of the mail-in ballots that they had received in early voting prior to today. So anything they received prior to today, that will be included, as well as people who actually voted today. So those are the results, the first round that we will get tonight, and we'll probably get those numbers before 11 o'clock in time for the 11 o'clock news. So we'll have some idea of the trend of what some people are getting, but then there will still be as many as 30,000 mail-in ballots that still have time to come in. They simply have to be postmarked by tonight. They can be received over the next few days. Right. And if we don't have somebody with 50% plus 1 in any of these races, that's when you go to the rounds of tabulation for ranked choice voting, and that's what adds more delay to getting these final results.
All right, Mark Seagraves, you've been on the trail for a long time for us in explaining how this ranked choice voting works to all of us. We appreciate it. We'll look for your live reports coming up tonight on News 4 at 11. Thanks so much. The News 4 I-Team is on voter patrol as we count down to polls closing. If you see anything they should be looking into, reach out at the number or email on your screen, 202-885-4444, or email tips@news4iteam.com. Now to a tragic update in the search for a college student who disappeared while swimming in the Potomac River on Sunday. Montgomery County Fire and Rescue says they found the body of 20-year-old Nazir Bell during their search today. Bell was a rising senior at Towson University and a graduate of Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. Fire officials tell us his family was by the river holding vigil all day today during the search. Family members told us last night that Bell loved reading, fashion, and learning new languages. He was out with friends on Sunday near the Billy Goat Trail when investigators say he started to struggle in the water and never resurfaced. Now to a tragic situation in Northwest Washington. A woman is dead tonight after an early morning shooting on Wisconsin Avenue. The man accused of killing her fled onto a Metro bus where he was shot and killed by police. D.C. police described the woman's killing as a domestic-related homicide. Now, this all unfolded just after 7 a.m., blocks apart on that Wisconsin Avenue bus route. Authorities have not yet released the names of the suspect or the victim. News 4's Darcy Spencer has the latest developments now.
I heard multiple gunshots.
Stacy Brissett was heading to work when she heard those shots, not realizing at the time it was police gunfire. Officers shot and killed a man on this Metro bus after he allegedly killed a woman just a few blocks away. Detectives say they recovered this gun with an extended magazine from the suspect.
I heard at least 4. So when I heard it, I was impressed. Oh my goodness, normally things don't happen around this area.
D.C. police say the suspect shot the woman at Wisconsin Avenue and Porter Street in Northwest. Witnesses tell News 4 her body was on the sidewalk near the Washington Ballet. She's believed to be the victim of a domestic homicide. A woman who lives nearby asked that we not show her face.
I was just in my apartment and I heard about 7:10, maybe 7:05, 7:10, just a single pop, a single gunshot. And then shortly thereafter, police activity. It just seemed very eerie and just disturbing.
After the shooting, detectives say the suspect hopped on the Metro bus and rode up Wisconsin Avenue to Upton Street in the Tenleytown neighborhood. Officers boarded the bus, began evacuating riders, and confronted the armed man.
As they approached him, he began making movements with his hand into a bag. They told him to stop making those movements. The suspect then pulled a firearm out of that bag, brought it up, pointed it in the direction of an officer, and 2 MPD officers discharged their firearms, striking the individual who had the gun and also striking the gun that was in his hand.
Several people were still on the bus when the shooting happened. Investigators say there was a relationship between the suspect and victim, and there was a history of domestic violence.
He has been in multiple arrests that have occurred here in the city, and we do know there is a prior domestic relationship between the victim that was killed down the block here and the suspect.
The shootings within 4 blocks of each other shook neighbors and those who were out, going to work and exercise classes.
This area is a beautiful area like anything else, but I know a lot of my patients, I know a lot of the community, so I was in fear for my life.
It's a bad sign. Our society has just all these breakdowns. It's a bad sign. I'm sorry to hear that.
The interim chief indicated that they would be conducting interviews with relatives to try to figure out what led up to the deadly and tragic violence here this morning. In Northwest, Darcy Spencer, News 4.
A reminder, if you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, there are resources. You can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. Now to a developing story tonight. Reagan National Airport passengers are being advised to closely monitor their flights for adjustments during America 250 celebrations here in Washington. News 4's Joseph Olmo joins us live from the airport now. And Joseph, we're talking about significant impacts here, especially for the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, that's going to be big, and we're going to talk about the 4th of July specifically in a second, Jim. Just overall, this is essentially airport leaders coming out and saying, hey, commercial planes are not going to be the only things flying around the skies of Washington, D.C. in the coming days and weeks. We saw multiple flyovers this weekend, like the Blue Angels and the Air Force Thunderbirds. There's going to be fireworks. There's even going to be parachute jumping at some point, maybe multiple times as a plane takes off right here behind me. So the good news is whenever there's a flyover, right, like the Blue Angels flying over DCA, that doesn't shut the airport down. They just hit the pause button on flights for a couple of minutes. Once the planes are out of this airspace, they hit the play button. Here's where things start to get, I don't know if alarming is the right word, but certainly different than in years past. July 3rd and July 4th, I believe we have the calendar up on your screen. July 3rd, we understand the airport, there will be no flights, no takeoffs, no landings for several hours in the early afternoon of July 3rd. And then on July 4th, there will be no flights at all at DCA after 12 p.m. noon. It's typical to see the airport kind of closed for commercial traffic for a couple of hours on July 4th because of the fireworks, but we're talking about at least a 12-hour time chunk where there will not be a single takeoff or a single landing at this airport on July 4th. The good news is the airlines knew about this for a while, Jim, so many passengers have already kind of been rebooked. But if you're traveling at all this summer, specifically around the America 250 celebrations out of this airport, really good idea. Pick up your phone, download your airlines app, United, Delta, Southwest, whatever, and just pay attention to the status of your flight.
Some great wisdom there, Joseph Olmo. Thanks so much. We'll see you at 11. Still to come tonight on the News 4 Rundown, a planned attack at the White House has been foiled. The revelation from the FBI today about a group of people who were plotting to attack Sunday's UFC events. The tip from the mother of a 19-year-old that led to the bust. And the state of Virginia is barreling toward the first government shutdown in its history. We have an update from the Commonwealth capital in Richmond, where disagreement remains over the future of data centers in Virginia.
It was a gorgeous day out there on our Tuesday. High temperatures, upper 70s to around 80 degrees. Now the heat and humidity will return as we make our way through the next couple of days. So will the chance for storms. I'm going to break it all down for you. I'll see you back here in a minute.
We're back now with yet another plot to provoke mayhem here in the nation's capital, this time at Sunday's UFC match at the White House this past weekend. Federal authorities say they broke up an alleged plot to attack the White House event, first with drones armed with explosives, then sniper teams firing at the fleeing crowd. According to an FBI affidavit, numerous people discussed this attack on encrypted chats. A 19-year-old man from Ohio is one of those in custody. Investigators say his mother first called local police last week. When sheriff's officers arrived at the family home, they allegedly found thousands of rounds of ammunition, an assault-style rifle, another rifle painted with an American flag. Our News 4 I-team has been tracking the evolving drone threat this summer. Here's Ted Oberg.
Hey, Jim, the Secret Service saying threats against public officials, threats that they have to deal with, up 40% this summer. And it is absolutely chilling to read this one. What this group was allegedly planning. According to some court documents, one of them wanted to jumpstart a revolution in this country. Whether they could pull it off or not, federal authorities took all of this very seriously. Just days before that giant UFC event, it exposed how concerning the threat of these drones can be. According to a criminal complaint, the group planned to stage a demonstration outside the UFC gates and launch small drones laden with explosives in the midst of that. They allegedly planned to detonate those explosives over the UFC event, which would force spectators to flee toward the few exits, according to court documents. Those documents also say the group was planning to have snipers near the exit to shoot what plotters called high-value targets. It was all apparently discovered just days before the group planned to meet in Fredericksburg, Virginia, to begin the attack.
It was an active plot, and it's ongoing.
According to the complaint, it was discovered when 19-year-old Tyson Proper's parents called police concerned about their son. The documents say Proper allegedly used high school graduation money to buy guns, body armor, and thousands of rounds of ammunition.
I'd say it was unique due to the numbers involved, the level of planning involved. It was an active plot, yes, involving purported, claimed to be planned to use drones, snipers, etc.
Officials have raised concern about drones before, but the I-Team learned this summer's World Cup in this country has increased the threat preparations. A FEMA grant helped law enforcement across the country get trained and equipped to deal with the threat of drones. Every World Cup site has counter-drone technology deployed. I-Team government sources assure us federal and local agencies have it deployed here in D.C. as well. For more than a year, the FBI has been training local law enforcement to detect and take down drones at a facility in Georgia.
This is the FBI. You have violated a no-fly zone.
They recently showed NBC News how they can electronically take over a drone and land it safely. Elsewhere, there's technology using a net to grab drones out of the sky and bring them down.
All it takes is for you to go online and search essentially what drones are doing overseas. Thankfully, none of that capability has come to the United States yet, but we're concerned that it may at some point.
Very concerned, according to sources we talked to. At least 5 people are in custody connected with this alleged attack against the UFC. Tyson Proper there, who you saw, was charged with attempted murder and several firearm violations. We reached out to the attorney listed for him, but we haven't heard back yet. D.C. is part of that FEMA counter-drone grant, but so far D.C. agencies and the FBI aren't quite ready to show off the growing counter-drone technology at use here. The recent attack, though, highlights some of the real concerns drones pose. Even in a place like D.C., where drones cannot legally fly anywhere, this alleged plot would have put them up within a few hundred yards of their intended target, meaning there was little time for law enforcement to react. And then there's a second concern. What do you tell all the people underneath that possibly threatening drone who are in this secure, fenced-in area? You tell them to evacuate towards a few exits or stay put, or it's quite confusing for law enforcement authorities trying to figure that out.
Could have been. All right. Ted Oberg. Ted, thank you. Virginia Democrats are celebrating a new deal tonight to legalize a recreational marijuana marketplace in the state. But it comes as Virginia is quickly approaching the possibility of its first ever state government shutdown. For months now, Democrats in the majority have been at odds over the state budget, and if a deal isn't struck by the end of this month, teachers, state police, and others could start to miss their paychecks. Our Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Drew Wilder has the latest tonight from the state capitol.
Governor Abigail Spanberger's administration is sounding the alarm just 2 weeks away from a partial state government shutdown.
It's emergency times now.
Secretary of Finance Mark Sickles took a grilling from the Senate Finance and Appropriations Committee because Senate Democrats and the governor are at odds over the state budget. Today, the Senate released its budget proposal that implements new taxes on data centers based on the generators each facility owns. It leaves in place the controversial sales tax exemption for now, but it should bring in billions of new dollars that Senate leadership wants to spend on funding programs that lost money due to federal funding cuts. It will also fund a 4% raise for state employees.
State employees get an additional 1% raise under our budget compared with the House budget. I mean, it's about an additional $800, $900 million, $1.1 billion a year of spending. And,
because of the new tax on data centers?
Yeah, right.
The Senate's budget deal could narrowly avoid what would be the first government shutdown in the history of the Commonwealth. And it's billed as a compromise after months of building tension between Democrats in the House and the governor. News 4 asked State Senator Louise Lucas about the infighting yesterday.
So if it appears like we have an infighting, I think it's a healthy one.
Republicans are critical, though, that despite bringing in more money with new taxes on data centers, the budget doesn't provide tax relief for citizens.
It's 14 days before government shut down, and it is clear the governor does not have a plan for when the governor shuts down. Virginians should be very disturbed by the Democratic leadership in the state right now.
But just this morning, the governor stood alongside colleagues from each chamber to announce they've reached a deal to legalize recreational marijuana by July 1st of next year.
This is what good governing and collaboration looks like.
The compromised cannabis deal includes an initial 6% tax and a licensing cap of 350 retailers that will be determined by the Cannabis Control Authority. Avoiding a state government shutdown is serious business, but it's undoubtedly a short-term problem. What might be the more long-term issue bubbling here is the inability of this state Democratic majority to legislate effectively in unison. Reporting from Virginia State Capitol, Drew Wilder, News 4.
All right. Very tough to top Tuesday, Doug. This was incredible out there.
And I don't know if we will for a while. I mean, that's how nice it was across our region today. Started off on a very cool note, but ended up very nicely. High temperatures today, upper 70s to around 80 degrees. D.C. coming in at 81. Now, that's a few degrees below average. And with low humidity, it was so comfortable. Look what we've got out there right now. I mean, a gorgeous evening out there towards Reston. Sun going down tonight at 8:35 at night. So just amazing. We've got about another hour before the sun actually goes down. 79 degrees the current temperature, dew point into the 40s. That's very dry conditions. And that means we are going to feel quite nice for the rest of the night. 70s right now area wide. 74 Annapolis, 74 Winchester. A pair of 79s though down towards Culpeper and Fredericksburg, and Patuxent River coming in at 75 degrees. So a gorgeous night. No rain to speak of just yet, but I am tracking a system back to the west. It's got some severe weather back in the Indiana, parts of Michigan. Out ahead of it, it'll be driving through a little bit more moisture into our air, and we could see a couple of showers, maybe a rumble of thunder later tonight. Best chance of that is over parts of southern Maryland and over towards the eastern shore. So if you're in and around the areas around the Beltway and then over towards the eastern shore, you might see a couple of rumbles of thunder overnight tonight into very early tomorrow morning. Now, by tomorrow afternoon, we are warm, a little bit more humid. You're going to notice it, but it's not terrible on our Wednesday. It's actually a pretty nice June Wednesday. But then we'll get into a chance for storms. This is Thursday morning. Good chance of storms here. If these storms come through this early, that could really help to bring less storms during the afternoon. So notice the coverage here, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, not a whole lot going on. So that's something that I'm going to be tracking as well. That chance for strong to potentially severe storms on Thursday. Does look like it's a little less today, but something we're going to be watching very closely. A high of 94, heat index around 100. 84 on Friday, 84 on Saturday. Saturday looks amazing. So does Sunday. So your Father's Day weekend looking really, really good. Chance of a shower on Monday, and then most of next week looking great. Temperatures at or even a little bit below average. How about that?
Beginning next Thursday, you'll have a chance to witness the evolution of the D.C. Metro. Our transportation reporter Adam Tuss gives us a preview.
New Metro, old Metro. New Metro, old Metro. And you'll soon be able to experience both side by side.
Yeah, welcome aboard Metro's newest rail cars, known as the 8000 series rail cars. They look a lot like the 7Ks, although there are some new differences here. You got the old school color scheme paying homage to the old school Metro rail cars. You've got the seating that is against the wall, a la New York City, giving you a little bit more space to spread out here on the train. Check out all the monitors on these rail cars. We're talking over 24 monitors per rail car, and the floors, they're going to be heated. That is certainly something you've never seen on Metro before, unlike the carpet. Do you remember the carpet on the oldest Metro rail cars? This is a 1000 series Metro rail car, which dates back to the original Metro system when it opened. Truly retro Metro. I mean, look at this color scheme. You get to see these rail cars on display on the National Mall.
Rider Pam nostalgic walking past the old 1000 series.
I liked the carpet. I know it got gross, but I liked it. Felt plush and fancy.
Her friend Greg says an upgrade is good though.
So if the things get old and you can't fix them, then I guess it makes sense to replace them.
One very new feature of the 8000 series, you can move between rail cars in an open walkway. Now the 1000 series there officially retired from service. We expect to see the new 8000 series on the tracks late next year. Along the National Mall, Adam Tuss, News 4.
As we leave you tonight on the News 4 Rundown, polls are about to close in Washington as voters set the stage for big changes in the district. The race for mayor is on the ballot, as well as multiple council seats and a delegate to Congress. News 4 will have continuing coverage this evening on air and wherever you stream NBC Washington. That's going to do it for us on the Rundown for this Tuesday night. Be sure to join us right back here for News 4 at 11. For now, I'm Jim Hadley. Have a great night, everybody.